And welcome back to the Power Accountability League. I'm your pal Dan L. This is my channel. And one of you needs to build a spaceship so I can fly to Krypton and find out if I'm related to Kal El. Today's video is entitled, Why Are We Carrying Water for the Enemy? Or Why Are We Carrying Water for the Left? Communist, Marxist. I think you get the idea. Why are we carrying the water for the people we shouldn't be carrying water for? And you might be thinking, well, what is he talking about? Well, I can never escape the fact that whenever I'm conversing online or in person with someone, they're always using words like the Democrats or the political left. They're liberal. They call them progressives. They call them liberals. They call them true blue Americans. They call them the Democratic Party, which again, before the 20th century, they were just called the Democrat Party. But anyway, and you're like, well, you've covered that. I have covered this before, but it's the irritation grows and grows with each day because no one on our side understands we're doing the heavy lifting for the left. And the left is an anti civilization movement. Leftism is a religion based on how to destroy civilization. And it is. It's anti science, anti logic, anti family, anti rationality, anti rule of law, anti constitution. Those are synonyms. I get it. Um, but the point is, we're doing a lot of, and we're doing it because we're letting them set the narrative. And again, I'm sorry to be redundant on this, but our side just doesn't seem to understand that this is a fight, that this is a battle. The ideas of the right have to, if you want civilization to exist, the ideas of the right and some of the ideas of the center have to triumph over the ideas of the left. But yet we're pushing their ideas when we use their verbiage. When we let them control the language, we are doing the work for them. And I'm going to give you a quick little example I'm talking about. I've got my trusty clipboard. This is from CNS News. I'm guessing that's some sort of Christian. Anyway, cnsnews.com or what is this? Yeah, cnsnews.com. So there we go. I got it right. So let's take a quick look here. So again, all this, I know you're like, this is such an analog channel. Kind of is an analog channel. Not a lot of super high production values, not a lot of super high tech in this channel, but just me sharing objective reality with you through the written word most of the time. Anyway, the article starts out with Learjet liberals against gasoline and goshawks in Glasgow. And I get it, alliteration. I get it. The author, her name, it's a woman. Her name is Lana Mercer or something like that. Probably got it wrong, but I don't care. But the point is, and again, she's trying to be clever. Alliteration, Learjet liberals against gasoline, blah blah blah. Nothing wrong with the. And by the way, I could read you the article. Nothing. She's against all of the hypocrisy and all of the stupidity and all of the lies of the left. They're not going to give up their trains and their jets and their yachts and their helicopters, but everyone else has to ride a bicycle and live in a mud hut. And we've already covered this, like I said, but this particular article, along with many other things I've seen and read lately, drives me nuts because why couldn't she just say, take a look at this again. Why couldn't she just say Learjet leftists? She says Learjet leftists. And again, you might be thinking, well, what's the big deal? Well, now we're going to move on to another part of the story here. I got to get rid of some paperwork here. So let's do this. I got to flip over some paperwork here and show you. I used it was Wordnik and Merriam-Webster. So this is Wordnik and Merriam-Webster. So anyway, I'm going to read you the definition of the word liberal. This is from Wordnik. Again, I just did a search. I went to DuckDuckGo. You can go to whatever search engine you want to and type in, liberal defined or progressive defined. This is just liberal. And if you do progressive definition, it'll pop up some dictionary definition, and you'll be like, progressive? That's not what the left is. But here's what Wordnik says on liberal. Favoring reform open to new ideas and tolerant of the ideas and behaviors of others, not bound by traditional thinking, broad-minded. Synonym, broad-minded. Okay, that's Wordnik, and it goes on and on. And both of these try and tie the word liberal to the political. If they try, yeah, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So in fact, I'll finish the one that I'm reading right now. It says of designating or characteristic of a political party founded on or associated with principles of social and political liberalism, especially in Great Britain, Canada, and the United States. What they're basically, and this you can see it right there, and basically what they're saying is Liberal is a synonym for the Democrat Party in the United States and whatever the parties, the leftist party names are in Great Britain and Canada. So they're trying to tie leftism to classical liberalism or just contemporary liberalism. Doesn't have to be classical, and it's not. And I'm going to read you, and you're going to understand this better as I read you the definition from Merriam-Webster. Of relating to or based on the liberal arts, liberal education. Okay, that's not complicated. Marked by generosity. This is definition number 2. Open-handed, a liberal giver. Given or provided in a generous and open-handed way, a liberal meal, whatever that means. Ample and full. Obsolete, lacking moral restraint. Licentious. Okay, anyway, so again, says Merriam-Webster, broad-minded, especially not bound by authoritarianism, orthodoxy, or traditional forms of favoring or based upon the principles. So here we go. This is number 5. Again, I'm going to show it to you one more time. Number 5 there. So number 5, I'm going to read it again. Broad-minded, especially not bound by authoritarianism, orthodoxy, or traditional forms of principles of something, but it's got some poor grammar here. Anyway, or poor sentence structure. Anyway, I don't have to go any further. Those were just 2. There's obviously lots of dictionaries on the internet, but those are just 2 of them, and they have something in common. And if you read further into this one, both of them are trying to tie the word liberal to leftism, and those 2 things don't go together. Again, I've told you before, classical liberalism. Um, Abraham Lincoln was a classical liberal. And today he would be considered a extremist conservative. He would be considered a wingnut, as in right-wing nut. That's what Abraham Lincoln would be thought of today. Why? Simply because of his fondness for the United States of America. Simply for his patriotic attitude towards the Constitution, towards the United States of America, his optimism for the future, his actually once the slavery issue had been settled, Abraham Lincoln could look at America and say, I've got plenty of good things to say about. Obviously, the slavery that Abraham Lincoln justifiably, correctly, he was realizing that slavery was holding America back from greatness. Slavery in the USA was ruining whatever potential greatness the United States of America would ever achieve. And when Abraham Lincoln looked at the future, he realized if we have to have a civil war over it. But the point is, liberalism, as you heard me repeat in both definitions, broad-minded, open-minded, tolerant of ideas and behaviors of others, not bound by authoritarianism. The Democrats are the authoritarian party. We have Joe Biden, right? Okay, you can go on the line right now. Go to, there's a guy named Alex Villanueva, I forget his last name. Anyway, there's a guy who runs the law enforcement department in LA County. He's got a video up right now. I think it was November 3rd that he put the video up, and it's all about all the people leaving law enforcement in LA County, and it's because of the LA County Board of Supervisors are acting in a very authoritarian, dictatorial way. Why are they? Well, because the governor of the state of California is a petty dictator. Joe Biden is a petty dictator. AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. I can go on and on, but everyone in the Democrat Party is nothing but petty dictators. The problem is, because there's a lot of Republicans who are helping the Democrat Party implement a lot of authoritarian policies. But the Republicans and the centrists, or the whatever you can call them, independents, centrists, whatever you want to call them. But the center and the right, both of those, they've got an element. They've got some people in there who are stupid and think authoritarianism is fine because again they support the Democrats. But in general, you've got you've got a minority in the Republican and the independents who are for authoritarianism, but not in the Democrat Party. Almost I can't think of, maybe Joe Manchin, maybe, but I'm not even, and you're thinking Tulsi Gabbard. But even if you were correct, even if Kirsten Sinema, Joe Manchin, and Tulsi Gabbard were somehow not dictators in waiting, they weren't dictator wannabes. They didn't think authoritarianism was wonderful. Even if that's true about those 3 people, that's 3. out of tens of thousands of elected Democrats. 3. Statistically, they don't mean anything. If 3 people and you've got 10,000 elected officials and 3 of them are not dictators, you've got dictatorship. You've got authoritarian society. And that's what we have in the USA right now. And and deep down inside in places, but no, I was going to do the Colonel Jessup speech. But deep down, you feel it. In your gut, you're like, yeah, every single thing that's been happening ever since Donald Trump was not convicted, and it was late January, early February of 2020. Ever since it was clear that Donald Trump was not going to be, it's not that he wasn't impeached, he wasn't going to be removed from office. So once it was clear, all of a sudden, everyone in the swamp said, "Well, we got to go full dictator." Again, that is the moment when everyone said, "Well, you know what? There's this virus. We could destroy Western society." Well, using the threat of a virus. And so starting literally right after the Senate refused to convict Donald Trump, right after that, we got the COVID-1984. It's COVID-19. We got the COVID-1984 pandemic. And remember, Jen Psaki, she called it a pandemic. But even if she didn't, it doesn't matter. It's a it's a scamdemic. It's a pandemic. It is a power grab of the reins of the entire globe. It's a global power grab. It's not just in the USA, though it's certainly, but what does the USA represent? The USA represents the biggest threat to both China and international Marxism, or global Marxism, globalism. At least under Trump it did, and there were even a few Republicans were on board who didn't want global dictatorship. They didn't want global slavery. So there was, probably a small, not small, there was a majority of Republicans, and I'll just guess a majority of independents who don't believe in global slavery. And with Trump in office, they were going to probably be successful in fighting off global slavery. But unfortunately, even though that's all true, unfortunately, our side still doesn't get it. And maybe they never will. Victor Davis Hanson's very pessimistic. And and there's a lot of reasons to say, yeah, that's reasonable. He's being reasonable. When Victor Davis Hanson says he's not optimistic about the future, he's pessimistic about the future, there's some logical, rational reasoning for him feeling that way. My pessimism, my frustration comes into the fact that we let them set the narrative. We don't have to. We don't have to patronize their businesses. We certainly don't have to, obviously we don't have to vote for them, but yet we've got members in the House of Representatives. We've got plenty of Republicans there's a current Marxist bill. It's going to end up being a reconciliation bill, but right now it's a bill that's going to go through Congress, and Republicans are going to help get it through the Congress. There's going to be some Republicans in the House of Representatives, and I'm probably going to be some Republicans in the Senate, and they're going to vote with the Democrats to implement dictatorship, authoritarianism. And again, you just heard the people who write the dictionary say, well, that's not what a liberal is, but we know that's what the Democrats are. We know that's what the political left is. They are authoritarians. They are cruel. They believe in slavery. They believe in cruelty. They believe that they should rule over everyone with an iron fist. They believe in government force to make even the most petty desires that they have, the most petty wishes and wants and desires of the left, they want to use the steel boot or the iron boot of the government to come down on your neck and my neck and 99% of the world's population's necks to tell them, we can make you do anything. We can make you inject anything into your blood. We can make you give up any job that you currently have. Remember, lots of people are leaving their jobs right now over this vaccine mandate. We can do anything to you. We can crush you. We can take away your home. We can take away your family. We can take away your car. We can take away your job. We can take away your health. By injecting, the FDA did not want to approve it. Two of the top administrators of the FDA are going to retire soon. What a coincidence. And when Trump was in office, the FDA said, we will not approve this vaccine because it'll look like we like Trump. It'll look like we're under the control of Trump. But as soon as Biden got into office, you better believe he was on the phone to the FDA. You will approve this or you will all be fired. I don't think for a second it's a coincidence that there are people at the FDA leaving. 75% of the people at the CDC won't come into work. They work from home now. Anyway, that's today's video. Think about it. Bye-bye.